Alrighty, good evening, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron back here once again. We're here to give you guys a live stream going over the potential seeing winter weather. As we get towards Thursday here, we're going to talk everything you need to know in terms of the wind chills, how much we're going to be seeing, etc. here. So before everybody starts spamming about the questions, hold on, okay? We've gotten a lot of questions today. We've been trying to get to everybody we can. I know everybody's trying to figure out Christmas plans and all the other stuff, but you guys know the drill when I do these live streams. I got to go over the information first. I got to get all this sweet information out, and then we'll get to your questions here. So a couple of things we're going to talk about. This is our weather highlights for tonight. Like I mentioned before, the significant Arctic air mass moves in as we get towards the day on Thursday. So if you have folks coming in during the day on Thursday and stuff like that, make sure that they are layered. Like I got right now, as an example, my shirt and another shirt under this, and you may actually need to put another shirt under this as we get towards Thursday, because you're going to have a lot of cold air coming in as we get towards Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. We're going to go over timing, all that good information. Snow chances, and there's also the potential for blowing snow, especially for our folks up there in northern Arkansas, northeastern Arkansas. We're going to get to that as well. Life-threatening wind chills. Great guy, Ryan Vaughn, he's been talking about this on Twitter. A lot of people have been talking about the snow, but no one has been talking about the temperatures and the wind chills. We promise you guys, these are life-threatening wind chills coming in. I understand on paper, snow looks super popular, but these temperatures and these wind chills need to be taken seriously, okay? We've got wind chill watches across much of northern Arkansas. I expect them to be expanded over the next 12 to 24 hours, and then once I get all the information out of the way, we're going to go into our Q&A session here. I'm going to be answering questions and stuff like that. If I don't get to you, don't get mad at me or anything like that. We'll get to you guys as quickly as we can here, okay? So the biggest thing I want to talk to you guys about first off is the wind chill watch here. It's going to go from much of northern Arkansas. I fully expect this to come south, by the way, probably first thing tomorrow morning or at some point tomorrow. I do expect these watches to get extended further to the south, and I wouldn't be shocked, especially for our folks up here in northern Arkansas, that it gets upgraded to a wind chill warning by the time we get towards tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, given that we're going to see wind chills negative 15, negative 20, maybe as low as negative 30 in some places across far northern and northwestern Arkansas. So take those wind chill values seriously, guys. We're not talking about them to drum up attention or anything like that. The biggest thing is, if you've got pets outside, it's pets, people, pipes, and plants, guys. That's the 4 Ps that we're going to be stressing you guys over the next couple of days here with this type of cold air coming in. Now, the biggest thing is, it's not going to be like a long-lasting cold air. This is going to be relatively short-lived. We are expecting a warm-up beyond the Christmas time frame, but right now, at this given point, this is where our attention is going to be. Okay, now, let's take this out a little bit. This is what I mean about the wind chills here. Now, this is Thursday evening, by the way. This is right around 6 p.m., and you've got these wind chills already this low. So a lot of people are going to be out and about tomorrow evening trying to get Christmas shopping done. Not tomorrow evening, Thursday evening, excuse me. Christmas shopping done and stuff like that. Make sure that you are layered up, guys. Okay, I'm stressing you guys now about these wind chills that's going to be coming up as we get towards Thursday. So keep that in mind across the board here with these wind chills. And this is Thursday night, by the way. This is Friday morning. You can see how low they can get, especially if they're in northwestern Arkansas. We're talking potential negative 29, negative 30. You're going to have winds, by the way, upwards to 40 miles per hour. I'm not expecting a whole lot of outages, power outages across the board, given that the snow totals are kind of low at this point. But still, even with the winds that high, you're going to have a wind chill problem, especially across northern Arkansas and the rest of the state here. So keep that in mind across the area. Now, let's talk about everything that everyone's been asking about and stuff like that from us. The reason why we haven't really talked about it much is because we've had the lack of data from our system. We finally got it on shore, so we've got a better idea on what we're going to look at here. So what I'm going to do for just a bit, I'm going to shrink this down, and I'm going to make this a map so you guys can actually see the map instead of it being crunched up like that. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this over here. Okay, so this is going to be the map as we get towards the Thursday and Thursday night time frame. Now, I want to stress something to you guys right off the gate. This is a first look winter weather precipitation map. You guys, especially if you're a long follower of us, we normally have these things out 3 to 4, maybe in some cases up to 5 days out in advance. This time around, we're 48 hours away from this event, and we're just now putting our first look out. because there's just been so much uncertainty with the computer model guidance and the overall pattern and how it's going to shape up. So this is the first time we've put it out this late, but most cases, especially everything in life, you got to be patient and you got to wait. So much of northern Arkansas and central Arkansas, this is for Thursday and Thursday night. Specific timing maps and stuff like that. I forgot to draw one up for this live stream, but we'll have that information for you guys after the live stream, so don't worry. But anyways, north to central Arkansas, we're talking about that winter mix to snow, and even in some cases blowing snow, because wind gusts are going to be picking up late Thursday afternoon and into Thursday evening, so keep that in mind. South Arkansas, I want to talk to you guys about South Arkansas at this point. Yes, there is the potential, especially for far southern Arkansas, from Magnolia to El Dorado up towards Lake Village, that you may not even transition over, because by the time this system begins to pull away, drier air is going to keep you guys from seeing winter weather down there. Now, keep in mind, this is a first look winter weather map. What do we mean by first look? It means that things can and will change over the next 1 to 2 days. So make sure you're staying with us, guys. I know we've been saying it a lot, but that's going to be the biggest thing here. Okay, now let's talk about what we're expecting. So rain rapidly changing to snow expected on Thursday. Travel issues are possible from central Arkansas up into north Arkansas here. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you're planning on going out and about on Thursday, make sure that you are bundled up, you're ready to go. If you're new here to Arkansas, you've got folks coming in, make sure that they're ready to go as well, just in case, and make sure you have that emergency plan in the card, because you never know, especially nowadays. Okay, now let's talk about number 2. We've got the rapid change in temperature bringing the potential of a flash freeze here. Now, what do we mean about flash freeze? And a lot of people are not familiar with that term. Basically, you're going from one air mass to another. You're going from, let's take for example 43, 44 degrees to 22 in less than an hour or less than 2 hours. That type of rapid cooling will cause flash freeze. So if some areas start off as rain throughout the day on Thursday, and you get that Arctic front to blast through the area, and you rapidly drop from 43, 44 to the 20s, you will have flash freeze problems even if you don't have winter weather. So something that you may want to watch out for first thing Thursday afternoon and then Thursday evening as the Arctic front is passing through the area. And we're going to show you guys that computer model, guys, here in just a little bit. And then number 3, especially for my folks up there in northern Arkansas, we're talking from Fayetteville over towards Batesville to Jonesboro to Blytheville up there in northern Arkansas. 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts coupled with the snow potential will lead to potential whiteout conditions up there in northern Arkansas. So keep that in mind. And also, if the area of low pressure is further to the south, it will bring that snowfall potential further to the south as well. So watch out for that, and make sure you keep up with us in terms of the updates here. Now, let's talk about the travel impacts, and then I'm going to get accumulation. And then as soon as I'm done with that, that's all the information I have for you guys at this point. And I'm going to go to guidance, and I'm going to start answering questions, because we got a lot coming in across the board. Okay, so northern Arkansas, I've got you guys at a medium. That means some roadways will be iced and snow covered across the board. This is from Thursday all the way to Friday night. And the reason why I have it to Friday night is because you will not get above freezing during the day on Friday. Let me make that perfectly clear. You will not get above freezing during the day on Friday. Prepare for those temperatures to be in the teens, and even in some cases in North Arkansas, not even getting out of the single digits. Prepare for that on Friday. A lot of people are going to be trying to shop, going to be trying to go out, do stuff. Friday, you're going to have some travel problems, especially if you see a lot of accumulating snowfall. So keep that in mind across the board. Central Arkansas at this point, I've got you guys at a low. That means that limited impacts on the roadways. Use caution while traveling. I cannot stress that enough. Use caution. Wherever you got it, I'm going to tell you the same thing my dad's always told me. Wherever you got to go, it's going to be there no matter how fast you go. So you need to take it easy on the roadways. Don't go 100 miles per hour on the roadways or anything like that, especially when there's snow on the ground and stuff like that. So take it easy on the roadways, guys. If you don't have to get out, especially in North Arkansas, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do, especially for Christmas and stuff like that, and you got folks coming home, then just make sure that you're being careful on the roadways here. Now, in South Arkansas, not expecting a whole lot of impacts down there. But as I said before, we're still 48 hours out, so let's see what happens over the next 2 days. And this map will be adjusted if needed, okay? Now, for some reason, I did not put the accumulating the snowfall accumulation. So give me 1 second. Let me get that up for you guys, and we're going to talk about that as well. So this is going to be the snowfall accumulations here. Now, this is first look. What do we mean by first look? That means that things will change over the next 1 to 2 days. Okay, you're going to see us kind of tweak this map here and there over the next 2 days. So just keep that in mind. Okay, North Arkansas, I've got you guys at a 2 to 3 inch snowfall potential up there right now. This will heavily depend on the track of the low. If the low is further north than expected, your snowfall totals will be a lot lower. If your area of low pressure is further to the south, this comes south. So keep that in mind. We're going to be watching trends over the next 2 days here, okay? Further to the south, we're talking from Fayetteville to Russellville to Searcy, up towards the Blytheville area. 1 to 2 inches of snow will be possible across this area. Watch out for blowing snow up here as well, especially for our folks up there in northern Arkansas. Now in central Arkansas, 1/2 inch of snow to 1 inch. We're talking from Waldron to Mena to Conway, Mayflower, the Vernonia area, Little Rock, Hot Springs, over towards Pine Bluff, over towards Memphis. We got a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snowfall across the board. Further to the south from there, trace to 1/2 inch. And then in South Arkansas, no accumulations are expected at this time. But I want to stress caution. It depends on the track of the low. The low is going to make or break this forecast coming up as we get towards your Thursday time frame. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're paying attention to our updates on the page and stuff like that here. Okay, so I'm going to leave this up. We're going to go over timing here just a little bit as well, and I'm going to answer your questions here. Okay, so let me go over here real quick. I did not mean to do that. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to get your comments up at this point here. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. I know a lot of people are wondering about trends. Are they going to go north and stuff like that? If the trends are north, the snowfall goes north with it. Okay, let's take a look at the computer model, guys, while I have you guys here. Okay, so this is fresh off the press. This is the 0Z NAM, and let's take a look at it. Okay, so this is the NAM. First and foremost, I want to urge caution about that cold air. The cold air, like I mentioned before, is being overlooked because everyone's so focused on the snowfall. This cold air is significant. They're talking temperatures, single digits, below zero. Wind chills could be easily -20 to -30 in North Arkansas. So make sure you are ready to go for that here. Okay, but you can see here's this 0Z NAM. Okay, now let's take a look where your area of low pressure is. Well up here in the Ohio Valley, but you have another low. Let me see if I can zoom this out and show you guys what I mean. There's another low that's going to develop down here in Texas, and it's going to take a track right through here. So you're going to have snowfall potential throughout the day on Thursday, and you can see by the time you get towards late Thursday night and early Friday, not Friday morning, late Thursday night, it should be pushing out of the area here. Okay, now, like I said before, one model. Let's take a look at your potential snowfall totals here. So this is what I like using because it accounts for what we call the ratio potential. But you can see just a generalized area, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. We've got 1 to 2 up here, some locally higher amounts up here, northwestern Arkansas. South Arkansas down here, unfortunately, I don't see a lot of snowfall down there in South Arkansas with this event. If it trends further south, we shall see from there here. But for northern Arkansas, we'll have to watch it close. But I know a lot of people are like 1/2 inch to 1 inch snowfall. Why am I stressing so much about it? Because it causes travel issues here in Little Rock. If you're from Little Rock, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So make sure that you're taking care on those roadways here. Now, this is the higher resolution of the NAM model here, and I want to show you guys the temperatures first before I show you guys the precipitation here. Like I said before, this is fresh off the press, 0Z run, newest information, and you can see what it does. This is right around Thursday morning around 6 a.m. There's your Arctic front. You can't mistake it at all. You go from the 30s to the single digits behind it. This is some significant cold air coming in as we get towards your Thursday time frame here. Now, a couple of things I want to note about Thursday morning. Look at your temperatures. Upper 30s, low 40s. These temperatures could be a little overdone. We'll have to wait and see. Notice some areas in higher elevations are already at freezing. So if you see temperatures colder first thing Thursday morning, that will cause snowfall potential to start a lot earlier than we're looking at here. So that's the reason why we don't really have a timing map out just yet. I'm going to try to get one out by tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. But these temperatures are going to have to be watched because that could lead to an earlier start with your winter weather here. But you can see your Arctic front right there. So let's take a look at the 18Z. Let's let the 0Z get a little bit caught up with us here. But you can see by the time we get towards this time frame here. So I'm going to back this up. And this is right around 6 a.m. Thursday morning. Okay, so this is 6 a.m. This is right around 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is right at lunch. Okay, so you've got temperatures in the 40s in central and eastern Arkansas, and already in the teens across northwestern Arkansas with blowing snow ongoing at this point. So this is right around lunch, like I mentioned before. This is a high-risk NAM. So you have to make sure that you're kind of taking it not really for granted at this point, but just something that you will have to keep an eye on here. Okay, now let's take this out just a little bit further, and then you can see that Arctic front crashes through the area by the time we get towards that 1 o'clock time frame here. So if you're ahead of the front, you're dealing with rain more than likely. You're behind the front, you're dealing with snow. And the one thing that's interesting about this boundary, you rapidly go below freezing. This is why we're so concerned about the flash freeze potential, because we've seen cases in Arkansas where you've gone from the 40s and then slowly got below freezing and then slowly got to the 20s. This one, you're going from 46, like you can see it here in Little Rock, 46 to 34. That is rapid freeze at this point. So keep that in mind across the area. And then by the time we get towards, I would say sundown, 5 p.m., temperatures already in the single digits up there in northwestern Arkansas, and elsewhere across the state, it's going to be in the teens, in the 20s here. And this is the potential radar. And like I mentioned before, you have to take this with a grain of salt because it's not going to do 100% with the radar here. But you can see the area of snow back here. There's your rain ongoing, and you rapidly transition over to snowfall. Now let's take a look at your wind gusts as well. And this is why we're worried about blowing snow up here in northern Arkansas, because you can see 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts, and locally higher wind gusts could be possible, especially in the higher elevations over here. And then by the time we get towards late Thursday night, you can see 20 to 30 miles per hour across the area here. Okay, so I know a lot of people are asking me this question about time frames. Robert, like I mentioned before, I want to see what Thursday morning's temperatures are going to be, because that could lead to an earlier start with your winter weather here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to draw this out here so you guys can kind of get a visual on the potential timing right now here. But I would say, let's do this. Let's go over to your precipitation type and let's do this, okay? So at this particular moment, northwest Arkansas would start the ball about 7 o'clock in the morning up here. Rest in the natural state, Thursday morning, we'll be good to go, okay? I've got this up now, so I'm gonna try to get that drawn out for you guys in a little bit, okay? Now, let's take this out. This is 10 a.m., by the way, coming into northwestern Arkansas and western Arkansas. So this is 10 a.m. over here, so I put a timing between 6 a.m. to right around lunch up here in northwestern and western Arkansas. That includes Mena, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, Harrison, Jasper, all these areas up here in northwestern Arkansas and western Arkansas. Now, let's take this out to central Arkansas. This will be coming in right around lunch on Thursday, okay? So the timing for central Arkansas would be from noon all the way to about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then in eastern Arkansas, I would put the timing from about 1 p.m. to about 8 p.m. here, okay? So that's going to be the timing at this point. But the biggest concern I have is if this activity starts your winter weather early, because if that happens, then your timing gets a lot earlier here. So we want to be 100% accurate with that timing here. But I promise you guys, probably after this live stream, I'm going to have that first look. But I want to urge caution that timing could change over the next day or two. That's why we haven't really talked about it, because there's so much uncertainty on when this cold front is going to be pushing through here. Okay, so I printed out the wind chill graphic you added this morning. Let me see if I can get this here. For my work with the library patrons to see. I hope it's not that bad, but I'm trying to get folks ready. Thank you, Nicole, for doing your part. Like I said before, I know everybody's excited about the snow. These temperatures are being overlooked. They are being overlooked at this point. So make sure everybody's good to go across the area for that here. So James, great point. When will we see temperatures get above freezing? I'm thinking right on Christmas Day. Right now, I think Christmas Day, especially for my folks in central and south Arkansas, you will get above freezing. But north Arkansas, I think it's going to be around that 26, 27 time frame for you guys. So you're talking easily 2 to 3 days up here with being below freezing across the board. So keep that in mind, guys. That's why we're urging so much about this cold air here. And there's a potential snowfall accumulations with that. And then you can see by the time we get towards Friday morning, I mean, look at there. -1, -2. These are surface temperatures, by the way. And you can take a look at your cold temperatures here. Now, let's take this to Fahrenheit real quick. And you can see up here, -20, -19, -10 up here in central Arkansas, -3, -4. These are wind chills. So you can't be outside for very long. This is where you run the risk of frostbite and also the potential of hypothermia across the area. Okay, so let me see here. Yeah, -30 and greater wind chills. And then yourself, oh man, that's the biggest thing I feel for these folks up here in the Midwest. The temperatures up here, the wind chills could be as low as -50 or below from there up there in the Midwest and the Northern Plains. So just keep that in mind here. Michael, I was actually taking a look at the high-res nav, the newest high-res nav that's coming in. Let's take a look at that real quickly. I think that was the 18Z. Let's take a look at the 0Z. And the 0Z is rather interesting now. This is the newest run from the high-res nav coming in. It's rather interesting for our folks in central and northern Arkansas. It's coming in a lot more with the precipitation. So let's see what happens with this. I like the trend that's coming up across the board. But right in here, we'll have to watch it very closely. And those darker blues that you're seeing as well could be some heavier snow. I don't want to trust one model, but let's see what happens across the area here. Take a look at there. I mean, look. That, now, Michael, I see why you wanted me to look at the high-res nav, the 0Z. So let's see what happens with this. I like the trend coming up with the 0Z run this evening here. Okay, so any tips to protect the house besides usual for us up there in northern Arkansas? Power outages should not be too big of an issue, and that's mainly because the snow will likely be that dry, powdered snow. I'm not really expecting that heavy wet snow because you've got a lot of cold air to work with this. So power outages should not be a massive issue. Just watch it close, especially in the higher elevations where you get those 55 upwards to 60 mile per hour wind gusts could be possible. Watch out for that. But the power outage issue should not be widespread enough. I don't even have a graphic for it right now, but I'll take a look at it and stuff like that tonight and everything like that. Let's take a look at this real quick. Like I mentioned before, this is fresh off the press. This is why I wanted to go live at 8 o'clock so you guys kind of get a visual on the newest data coming in here. But yeah, you can see, especially in higher elevations, 45, 50. I think the highest with this is about 50 miles per hour up here. Could be some higher gusts up here. Washita Mountains and stuff like that up here in northern Arkansas and over here in southwestern Arkansas. So keep that in mind across the board. Something that we'll watch closely across the area here. Okay, so any chances of ice forming, available moisture, changing timing, causing problems. So the biggest thing, William, I'm worried about, and I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. Let's back this up. By the way, I'm real curious to see what the name is doing with the accumulation. But anyways, this is what I'm worried about. This rainfall that's ongoing first thing Thursday morning. Temperature profiles look to be above freezing across the board. I mean, barely, but it's above freezing. So temperatures in the 30s and 40s first thing Thursday morning shouldn't pose too big of an issue. Okay, so you should stay relatively pure rain. But the problem is you get the ground wet, you get the sidewalks wet, and the roadways wet before the winter weather, and an Arctic blast coming in this strong. That's where you run the risk of flash freeze across the area. So something that we're going to watch closely. I like your question, William. I would heavily watch the roadways, the sidewalks. Now, Kevin made a good point in the last live stream that the wind and the high wind gusts should negate the rapid flash freeze potential. However, if you have a lot of water, a lot of standing water, the winds are not going to completely erode that. So watch that closely across the area here, especially if you're planning on traveling. That's why I have a meeting up there in northern Arkansas. But I mean, boy, if the high-res nav were to verify, let's take a look at this. This is going to be, let's go over to this one real quick. Let's take a look at this, okay? There's the high-res nav. Boy, look at there. It's starting to increase the snowfall totals a little bit. Like I said before, this is one model. Don't trust it. Don't go running with these totals. But Northeast Arkansas, gotta watch that close. It depends on where this low goes. But I'm starting to notice that southern to southwest trend with this low pressure. So something that we'll keep an eye on here. Shelly, to answer your question, let's take a look at that, because like I said before, this is all kind of new information here. So we'll see. I do see 10s and 11s and 12s. We'll see. It's going to be very difficult to get it. I like it a little bit higher than this, somewhat similar to what you're seeing up here in the Ohio Valley. Let's see if we can match that up with the snow ongoing. So we shall see. I think in the heavier banding, you can see the heavier banding across eastern Arkansas here. Man, if the freaking high-res NAM were to verify, that'd be something a lot of folks would like to see if they're staying at home. If they're traveling, this is going to be their worst nightmare. So something that we'll watch, Shelly. I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to see thunder snow, but these heavier banding, I would watch it. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. That's something that we won't be able to determine until like day 1 or something like that with this. Okay, so that's showing rain, then mixture, and then over to snow in the Camden area. Yes, it is, Elizabeth. And let's go back to my map here that we had earlier on. Okay, so that's snowfall accumulation. Let's see if I can go back here. That's travel. Okay, so basically it fits relatively to this, except for southeastern Arkansas. I've got you guys at a cold rain right now. If the high-res NAM and the other short-range model guidance start trending to that idea, then we shall see what happens with that. By the way, the HLR, I just saw the HLR, the 0Z. It does have that dry slot. We have something that you have to watch with the HLR. But the problem is, and I want to urge caution for those that are weather enthusiasts, the HLR is not as good when it's beyond 40 hours out. It's not good at all. HLR is known for its hourly trends versus the high-res NAM. So we shall see what happens. I mean, the high-res NAM were to verify, you won't see much at all across the board, except for northern Arkansas. You may see a mix in central, and then northeastern Arkansas, you will transition over. But we shall see across the area. We'll take a look at that here in just a bit. So they've been treating roads for the last 2 days. These temperatures, I hope for the best. Stephen, I'm really glad they've been out there treating the roads and stuff like that. I know RDOT was getting out. I saw a couple of trucks earlier on when I was out and about. They were kind of going through and starting to get prepared for that, so we'll keep an eye on that. Do you think that it'd be cold enough for the power lines to break? Like I said before, it just depends on the snowfall. With the snowfall being dry and that powdered snow, power outages are not going to be a significant event with this. I want to urge caution with that a lot right now, because I know there's been several posts on social media talking about we're going to have a lot of power outages and stuff like that. The only way I'd be concerned about power outages is if you were dealing with heavy, wet snow. You're dealing with that dry, powdered snow, you're not going to see a lot of power outages here. Now, the wind gusts are concerning. That 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gust is concerning. Some isolated areas could see it, but I just don't think it's going to be a significant deal across the board with the power outage deals here. But definitely something I would watch with those temperatures. Let's go back to the preset real quick. Show you guys the HR. Like I mentioned before, don't trust this because it's right at 40 hours out here, and I've seen the HR do some crazy stuff before here. But you can see how that dry slot really erodes across southwestern Arkansas, and then it's out of here across the board. And I'm pretty certain with the totals. And let's take a look at this real quick. This is going to be your. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this. There it is. Those are your totals across the board, across northern Arkansas. So you'd have 1 inch to half an inch to 2 up here in North Arkansas. Nothing in central and south. I don't trust that right now. The HR is just now getting in the range. I don't trust that across the board. So concerning the second low that will form to our southwest, can you show that via model data and explain how it worked with this system here? Great comment, Andy. Let's talk about that second low real quick. And let's see how it's going to impact with the system. So let's take a look at the high-res NAM. I like using the high-res NAM for this particular event because I think it's doing a decent job with the overall snowfall potential with this here. Okay, so let's go back over to, let's see here, it's going to be this. And let's take a look at your surface low. Okay, so if that were to verify, your surface low would be, let's take a look. This is late Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. I did not mean to do that. There it is. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so your surface low would be somewhere right in there. Okay, that will be your surface low across the board right around midnight Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. So let's take this out a little bit, and you can see what it does. There's your surface low, and I believe if the high-res NAM were to verify, I think it took a track from North Texas, North Louisiana, up in the Mississippi and into the Ohio Valley. So that second low, that sneaky little low, you gotta watch it closely across the board. I love your comment, Andy. Great pickup talking about that second low here. Okay, so will we be clear by Sunday? It just depends on how much snow you get across the board. Okay, now let's take a look at this. This is going to be the NAM, and we're going to take this out all the way to, let's see how far it goes out with the, there it is. So this is Saturday morning, and here's your temperatures here. So this is first thing Saturday morning, teens and 20s across the air here. So you will start to warm up across the air. These are daytime highs, by the way, on Friday. That's why I'm saying Friday, if you get a lot of snow up here in North Arkansas, you're not going anywhere. But anyways, you can see what it does by the time we get towards Saturday morning. So you'll start to warm up on Saturday. I think Sunday, we'll see. It just depends on how much accumulation you'll get across the board. Right now, Thursday through Friday, travel, if you see a lot of snow, travel is going to be a nightmare across the board. If you don't see any accumulations, you should be good to go in terms of travel. Just make sure that you're bundled up and you're ready to go, because these wind chills are going to be stupid, especially first thing Friday morning here. Okay, so yeah, the FB3 hinted at that heavier snow in the eastern half earlier today as well. That's the thing I was watching, Andrew, is that eastern Arkansas area, because of that sneaky little surface low down here in the Gulf of Mexico. You need to watch that closely. A lot of model guidance is going to struggle with that initially because it's kind of going under the radar. We'll watch it closely. We'll see what happens with that here. Okay, so why are you the only one saying that we're getting snow? Because of the overall pattern. Okay, the overall pattern supports it. And another thing that I'm accounting for, Amanda, is that secondary low that a lot of people are not paying attention to. I don't think this is going to be a massive winter storm or anything like that. You just need to watch it. It's just something that you just have to keep. You have to be observant about, and that's what the high-res NAM is picking up at, and that's what I believe like Andrew said, the FV3, which I haven't even looked at yet. There's the FV3 coming off the press, and let's see what's wanting to do with the totals here. So yeah, there it is right there. So there's the FV3, basically northern Arkansas, northeastern Arkansas, and right through central at this point. So you'd have to watch that. There's sleet. There's some freezing rain on set with that. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on here. I could have just done this. I don't know why I didn't do this. There's that. Now, I want to urge caution. That's a 10-to-1 ratio. You're probably looking at a half an inch to an inch here in central Arkansas that would happen. Further to the north, you look at a little bit higher across the area. Gwen, thank you for that comment. It means a lot. Let's see here. Thunder snow, as I mentioned before, question mark right now here. I don't count on it. Don't expect it. Just something to kind of watch out for across the air. So would you still buy a more southerly push with the significant amount of cold air in place? So we'll see, Chandler. The high-risk NAM, if you go with the high-risk NAM, kind of really picked up on that southern track. Sometimes, and I've seen situations like this verified before in previous winter weather events, where we had a solid track going into the event thinking, okay, we've got it nailed, 100%, we're good to go. And then we get to the event and the low decides, oh, hey, I'm going to go 50 miles south, or I'm going to go 100 miles south than expected. Or I'm going to go 50 miles to the north, or 100 miles north than expected. Or I'm going to go faster than expected. These lows have a mind of their own. Weather has a mind of its own. You can only project on what it's going to do, but at the end of the day, it's going to have a mind of its own, right? So something that you just have to make sure when you're doing a forecast, you have to account for somewhat of a potential. To your comment, we'll see. Model guys, I'm going to throw this out to you guys right now, is doing a horrible job with this cold air coming in. I think it's going to be a lot faster than what Model Guidance is doing across the board here. So, yeah, it needs to be watched across the state. Kevin, I fully agree. I fully agree. I haven't had a chance to talk to you today, bud. We've been out doing Christmas stuff, but I do agree. We're going to have to watch that because that sneaky southern low down here, if your cold air is a lot quicker, things could get very interesting across the board. Okay, so not expecting winter storm watches or warnings with this. Winter weather advisories will likely be the most case scenario with this. Northern Arkansas, we'll see if that 2 to 3 inch snowfall amount were to stand. I could see a potential watch up here, but rest of the state, winter weather advisory will cover it across the board. Cal, love your comment. Can't stress this enough. If it's raining ahead of this Arctic blast, flash freeze can occur very quickly, and water will turn to ice in minutes. Love that comment. I cannot stress that enough with this. A lot of people are overlooking that cold air and the wind chills because of the snow. Snow is not a 100% popularity thing. You should always take a look at your temperatures because you can't get snow without the cold air, without all that cold air coming south. So something that you just have to keep an eye on. I love your comment, Cal. Very, 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 very important. Make sure if you're planning on traveling on Thursday, did you account for this as well? So let me see here. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, so what's the information about Harrison? Just now tuning in. Biggest thing here, let's go back over to our map. I'm going to leave this up for those that are kind of tuning in. Mix to snow to blowing snow across the area. By the way, wind gusts will be as high 40 to 45 miles per hour. I've got it all the way down to central Arkansas. Southwest, I've got rain to mix to light snow. South Arkansas with this one, we shall see. You need to pay attention to that sneaky southern low. A lot of guidance is overlooking that thing, and it could play a wild card coming up with this system here. Okay, so yeah, I see a lot of people I saw RDOT earlier. I don't know if it was today. I see a lot of them kind of getting prepared for it. I think they said they were going to try to go out tonight, start treating the roads tonight and stuff like that. The biggest thing, the reason why they're treating it this early is because, like what Cal said, you're getting rainfall on the onset of this event, and then you're going to rapidly switch over to freezing temperatures in that snow. So they're going to treat it early, which is awesome because it accounts for that rain, and it kind of helps with the roadways and keeps the roads from completely freezing over with this setup here. Okay, so yeah, so we've been treating. Okay, Cal, Cal, you work for RDOT, I believe. He's one of our followers that works for RDOT. He's been treating roads since Monday morning here. So he's one of our great followers from RDOT here. So let me see here. That's the biggest thing with this, guys. I'm not expecting winter storm watches or warnings with this. North Arkansas, potentially. It just depends. I'm fully expecting the advisories to really take advantage with this setup here. Now, obviously, if snowfall totals are underdone, then that's something that we won't be. We'll be kind of not trending. We'll be kind of paying attention to over the next 48 hours here. Let's see here, Kevin. Trends within 48 hours cannot be ignored. I fully agree, bud. I fully agree with this here. Okay, so my folks in South Arkansas, I know a lot of people are kind of upset about not seeing snow and stuff like that. Think of it like this. If you don't see snow, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean winter's over. It doesn't mean you're not going to see it or anything like that, okay? Think of it like this. People are coming home with this weather. A lot of people are coming home that don't know Arkansas roads, don't know how a lot of people travel and stuff like that. You're adding snow, you're adding ice, and all that good stuff to the roads, and it's going to cause a chaotic situation. So a lot of people that don't see snow, probably the ones that are outside of Arkansas, are probably like, oh, good, they're not expecting snow in this area. It's awesome. That's awesome for travel. So keep that in mind. I know everybody likes snow. I'm a snow fan myself. But you got to keep in mind, a lot of people are going to be coming in, traveling for Christmas and stuff like that. So we don't want travel to get out of control either. Okay, so let me see here. No, I'm not expecting any blackouts or any power outages, folks. I know a lot of people are concerned about the power outages. I know a lot of people are concerned about it. I'm not terribly concerned about the power outage potential. If I start getting concerned about the power outage potential, I will let you guys know. But I'm not concerned about it right now. Could we see some isolated outages? Potentially. But right now, with that snow being dry and powder snow, it's not going to lead to a lot of outages across the area. So something we'll watch. We'll let you guys know if that's the case here. Okay, so let me see here. Will the freeways and the highways be safe for travel? The biggest thing is it just depends on where you're going. If you're in North Arkansas, you need to account. Let's go back over to our travel map real quick and show you guys what I was talking about. Okay, so let's go over to this. There's travel impacts. Okay, so from Fayetteville to Fort Smith to over towards Batesville to Jonesboro to Blytheville, up there in northern Arkansas, some roadways will be ice and snow covered. We're talking about the potential of that. Use caution while traveling if you need to get out. For those that are coming home, give them a heads up. Some of these roads up here, these roads up here in northern Arkansas, how curvy they are and stuff like that. Make sure they're paying attention. In central Arkansas, I've got you guys at a low right now. We'll keep an eye on trends and stuff like that. But you guys know, if you're in Little Rock, you know how it is when we get a half an inch of snow. Travel becomes a nightmare, especially for people that have never been here before. So you got to account for that. Not everybody knows our road network here in Arkansas, especially those that are coming from out of state. So keep that in mind. Travel is going to be a little bit kind of hectic if we see the snowfall across the area here. Okay, so Elijah. Hey, Elijah. I hadn't seen you in a little bit, bud. What do you think about the models? Will change tomorrow. I'm going to be honest with you, Elijah. They're going to change a million times before we get to Thursday. That's how it's going to be. But let's see what happens. I think Central Arkansas is in a good area. I think you're going to be in a good shot of seeing some snowfall across the board. Dylan, great comment. That's something that we're going to watch in eastern and northeastern Arkansas. You could. Let's go back to the high-res now. Let's show you guys what Dylan's talking about here. Okay, so if the high-res NAM were to verify, and you can see what happens. Your low pivots to the northeast. It starts to strengthen up here. That's why you go from the lighter blues to those darker blues. You could see some snow squalls kind of set up across eastern Arkansas, northeastern Arkansas. So watch it close. If that is what the high-res NAM kind of verifying across the area. Weather apps are saying negative 19 for southern Arkansas. Boy, I hope it doesn't get that low down there, because if it gets that low down there, central and north Arkansas is going to be even lower. Right now, I think that's a little bit too extreme, but we shall see. These temperatures, like I said, for guidance, may not be doing too well with these temperatures at this point. So let me see here with low track further south. Let me go back to this one. With low track further south, maybe allow Pine Bluff to get some snow. We shall see at this point. Like I mentioned before, the high-res NAM is our best friend. And I think the other NAM is our best friend as well. Let's take a look at this one. This is the WRF model. And I mean, boy, I think the convective models right now here outside the high-res NAM is really struggling with the precipitation back here. So we'll keep an eye on that. The problem is you're at 40 hours out. So the very short-range models are just now coming into range here. So you still kind of have to use the medium range until you get towards tomorrow and late tomorrow and stuff like that here. So let's go back over to precipitation type and show you guys what I mean here. Good man, look at the NAM. NAM is really hinting at from Little Rock to I-40 to Memphis up towards Jonesboro. So let's see what happens with that. Like I mentioned before, you don't want to trust any particular model or any particular snowfall amounts here. But let's see what happens with this. And that's a generalized half an inch to an inch of snowfall across the area. So let's see what happens with the NAM. But even with these low snowfall amounts, it will still cause travel problems because a lot of people are coming in across the board. So, yeah, I haven't seen cold like this since 1980. Man, like I mentioned before, a lot of people are overlooking that cold air right now. A lot of people are. I've seen it all day long. I've gone to the grocery stores, talked to a few folks. Mainly was, hey, it's just, the snow's coming and stuff like that. Not really concerned about the cold air. You gotta realize, we don't see this cold air a lot in Arkansas at all. If you're from Minnesota, Northern Plains, you're probably used to it. But down here in the South, this is some serious cold air coming our way as we get towards late Thursday and early Friday morning here. These are the feels like temperatures. I mean, look at here. This is during the day, by the way, 3 p.m. on Friday. You're still in the negatives up here in northern Arkansas. Central and south is in the single digits to teens for your feels like temperatures, and your daytime highs struggling to get to 20. So it's going to be very, very cold across the board. So what about the GFS? Let's take a look at the GFS since it's a lot of people are talking about it. Let's take a look at GFS. And this is the 18Z. And I don't believe, what is it doing? I haven't looked at it all day. Okay, so it's basically doing the same thing. Central and North Arkansas, some heavier snow up here, and then it's out of the area. And then look at your temperatures. That's the 598 millibar line coming in into southern Missouri. That is some significant amount of cold air coming our way as we get towards that time frame. So let's take a look at your snow amounts. Like I mentioned before, right through here. Got to keep an eye on it. But I would not be shocked if some of these amounts may be a little bit underdone. We'll see. I'm not expecting a massive winter storm across the area, but we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, so how does this secondary low work? Let's talk about that secondary low and why I'm concerned about it. So let's go over to, let's see here. It's going to be South Central. Okay. Let's use the high-res NAM. And I think the high-res NAM represents this a lot better than the other models right now here, which is the reason why your snowfall totals are this far south, okay? So let's go over to precipitation type 6 hours out. Let's take a look at this, okay? So I'm going to stop it right here, and we're going to pull this up. This is where your surface low would be right here, okay? This is where your surface low would be right in there. So Why is this important and why we're concerned about it? Let's take this out a little bit, okay? Now, pay attention. This area flow pressure right here, look what happens, okay? It disappears off model guidance, but it redevelops down here in North Louisiana and into Mississippi. Why is this important? Let's take a look at that, okay? This is where your low would be at this point. So you have another low up here in the Midwest, and you have a surface low down here. What this will do is we'll draw additional moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and throw it back over to Arkansas. You've got a 1037 millibar ridge coming in. You can see by your isotherms coming in as well how they're kind of so compact to each other, which means you've got a lot of wind, probably 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts with this. So this would be blowing snow. But notice where that moisture is coming in, and you can take this out a little bit, and you can see what happens right in there. I'm going to scoot this low over a little bit as well. So your low will be somewhere right in here, okay? And notice what it does. Heavier snow up here in northeastern Arkansas, down to central, with what basically a mixed bag across South Arkansas here. So South Arkansas would get on the game with this as well, and this would carry out into the area. So this would help with a little bit of more lift and more moisture coming into central, eastern, and northeastern Arkansas. So something that we'll keep an eye on. I think a lot of model guidance right now is doing a horrible job with trying to depict what this area of low pressure is going to be across the board, and then it gets out of the area and much colder air settles in across the board. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, Kevin. Like I mentioned before, it's not going to be a widespread power outage situation, but I could see some isolated power outages being possible with 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts. And the biggest thing is, if you lose power, you gotta make sure there's a lot of warming sensors that we're gonna have across the state. Matter of fact, probably late tonight or first thing tomorrow morning, we're gonna have that posted on the page and everything like that, just in case. Like I mentioned before, don't expect power outages. Don't take it and say, hey, we're definitely gonna lose power. It's gonna be significant power outages. It's not gonna be like that, okay? But some isolated power outages could be possible due to the strong winds. Cold temperatures will need to be monitored. I do fully agree, Kevin. Like I mentioned before, some isolated power outages can be possible, but it should not be anything super significant across the area. So thank you. I've been asking about this. I've never driven in it before, so I want to be prepared. Sarah, the biggest thing, make sure you have some sort of an emergency kit. Take a blanket with you. Make sure that you're ready to go. Basically, get your car ready for winter weather travel. We'll have all the information and stuff like that probably late. It's 9 o'clock. Probably late tonight. Mainly during the day tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of information and stuff like that for tomorrow here. Okay, so let me see here. Come tomorrow evening, I bet that low gets pushed further to the south. If that happens, Kyle, you're going to have a lot of changes coming up with a lot of forecasts here. That sneaky southern low, I mentioned before, it goes under model guidance. A lot of model guidance does horrible with it, especially in a northwest flow regime. You need to watch that closely because that will help bring your moisture in from the Gulf of Mexico, erode the erode the dry air coming in behind the front, and that could help your snowfall totals from Little Rock to Memphis up to Jonesboro. So something that we'll keep an eye on at this point. But if that happens, then your snowfall totals will go up if it starts pushing a little bit further to the south here, okay? So, let me see here. Yeah, Christy, I looked over the GFS. It's relatively the same from all the computer model guidance here. Basically, half an inch from central Arkansas and then upwards to 2 inches across northern Arkansas here. So it's relatively the same across the area here. We'll be live tomorrow. Obviously, we'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to get it out a little bit earlier than I did today. Today, I had to do a lot of running around for Christmas and trying to get everything going for that, so I do apologize for being this late, but we're going to try to get out a little bit earlier for tomorrow here. So let me see here. Let me go over everything right now. So do you have any updated ensembles available? I'm interested to see what the means look like. Now, here's the thing. When you're this close in range, the ensembles are not going to be your 100% best friend. This is something that you have to look at when you're about 6-7 days out, but let's take a look at it so we can kind of get a visual on what we're looking at here. So this is the Euros ensemble mean, and you can see what I mean here. So basically it has relatively the same central up to northern Arkansas, best shot of seeing snowfall. South Arkansas, things being underdone, but we shall see what happens with that here. But right now, when you're being this close, you're about 24 to 48 hours out, I start using more the short range guidance more versus the ensembles. But the ensembles nailed this event coming up. This is why we're talking about the winter weather so early because it did an excellent job of trying to signal this out here. Okay, so what makes the amount so low if the moisture does move in around lunch and it empties out? So the reason why your amounts are so low, it's got a lot to do with your ratios. Now, a lot of people are tuning in; they're very new, probably never even heard of our page here. So welcome here. What do we mean about snow ratios here? So basically, your snow ratios, I'm going to make this as simple as I possibly can. A 10-to-1 ratio, which is this, by the way. Let's use this map. It's obviously not going to verify, but we'll see. 10-to-1. So basically, 10 inches of water equals 1 inch of snow. So if your snow ratios are lower, that's where you start getting those heavier, wet snowflakes across the board, and that's where you start talking about. That's why I'm not so concerned about power outages. Is because you're talking more of a drier snow versus a wet snow. If this was a wet snow with 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts and all this cold air coming in, I'd be really concerned about significant power outages. But with it being a drier snow, yes, you can still see it because of the winds themselves, but I just don't think it's going to be the snow that's going to do it. I think it's just going to be the winds by itself. But back to my point. So let's say you're at 20-to-1 ratio for the snow. Basically, your snow ratios are higher, so that means that it'd be that dry, powdered snow that you really can't make a snowball with, which leads to higher accumulation. That's why you see. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's make this a little bit easier to understand. Let's go over to Arkansas real quick, and let's go over to your Wrangler snow totals. Okay, so this is a 10-to-1. Notice Little Rock, half an inch to an inch up here. Now notice as soon as I switch it to the ratios, basically your ratios are much higher up here in northeastern Arkansas. Notice how your snowfall totals increase because that's a drier snow, which is able to accumulate a lot quicker and a lot better versus the heavy wet snow, which will instantly melt and then it will start sticking over time. But the dry snow is going to immediately just stay there because it doesn't melt so fast. So that's why your snowfall totals, I like using this a lot more versus the 10-to-1 ratio because this tells me a lot in terms of what your ratios are going to look like. I like using this product a lot more than the 10-to-1 ratio unless I know for a fact that your ratios are going to be that. But I hope that answered your question. I was trying to make that as simple as possible here. Okay, so why is the NAM so much different than the GFS here? So every model has their own opinion. You should never take it 100%. That's a given. But the biggest thing is with the NAM, it initialized that southern low a lot more versus the GFS. GFS kills it. It focuses more on that Ohio Valley low, and you don't have a lot of snowfall with it. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the GFS, and you can see up here, a lot of snow up here, 1 to 2 inches near trace to half an inch central, and then nothing south. So it doesn't do much with this southern low down here, but the NAM does. This is why you have to watch trends over the next 48 hours, because if you start seeing that uptrend, then you have to watch out very closely across the board. Okay, so let me see here. Let me go over everything at this point. What does the European model say? I haven't even looked at the Euro. I think it's going to be even less than this. Euro has been real conservative. Oh, actually increased up here in northern Arkansas to 3 to 4 up here, but nothing is central because it's not initializing that southern low down here, which is, I'm saying, it's going under the radar at this point. So we'll see right now. The local news stations from central to south probably won't see anything. We've seen this story before, like I mentioned before. I'm not expecting a winter storm down here. Okay, I'm not expecting it, but you need to watch that low down here and see what it does, because all it does, and if it brings more moisture in here, let's go back to the NAM. And I know it's by itself, and it's the only one that has snow totals this far south. But you can't ignore it. You cannot ignore it across the board. As a matter of fact, let's take this out to the 18Z. 18Z is relatively the same. As a matter of fact, with the 0Z uptrended, and it brought it further to the south. So you can't ignore, like Kevin said, you cannot ignore those trends when you're 48 hours out across the board. So let me see here. We'll go over questions at this point. Yeah, Cheryl, love your comment. If you lose power, don't get heat from your vehicle or in a closed garage. By the way, garage doors has to be open. So that's a good thing, because that's carbon dioxide poisoning across the board. So make sure y'all are taken care out there. If y'all need any information, please feel free to let us know here. We'll be live tomorrow. Obviously, we'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here on Thursday. Don't worry about that at all. Let me see here. Thank you so much for the information. You're the best my go-to weatherman. I appreciate that, Catherine, so much here. So, we'll warn Arkansas, see snow and ice. I'm going to go and place my chips on the high-risk NAM. I think the NAM is doing really good. We're trying to bring this further to the south because it's initiating that southern low really, really good. I don't think the other models are doing too good with it right now. We'll see. At this point, like I mentioned before, the NAM is just kind of by itself. It's something that, it's by itself. You know what this trend is. All it takes is one model starting it, and then another model jumps onto it, and another one. We'll see. But all I've seen all day is the NAM going from little to nothing to a good amount of snowfall for much of the state. So we shall see what happens with that. Matthew, thank you for reminding me about that. That is going to be the Icon model, and we're going to take a look at the Icon real quick. This is the 0Z that's now coming out. So let's go back to the 18Z, and let's take a look at what it does. The Icon is to north, okay, in central Arkansas. The 12Z earlier, there was one of them earlier that I looked. It was the 0Z last night. Okay, so this was the 0Z last night. Had 2 to 3 across north Arkansas, 1 here in central, nothing in south. Over the course of today, it has trended away to the north, but let's see what happens with the 0Z that's coming up here. It has it still north Arkansas down to central, but let's see what happens with that here. Okay, so yeah, I just thought about that, Rick. Yeah, I said that backwards. I apologize. So let me see here. Let me go over everything right now. Yeah, so yeah, no. It's 10 inches of water for 1 inch of snow. That's the ratio. It's 10 inches of water, which accounts for 1 inch of snow. So think of it like this: if you had, let's say, 3 inches of snow, that would be 30 inches of water. So that's what it takes. The ratios vary from time to time. You'll have 8 inches of water equals 1 inch. That means your snowfall is relatively wet and it's super heavy. Your ratios being much higher, you're talking at 15 to 20 to 25 to 1 ratio. That's where you have the drier, more powdered snowflakes across the area. Okay, so let me see here. Folks, make sure you're running antifreeze in your car. If you have the water as coolant, your vehicles will freeze during this weather. Cal, I appreciate you, man. That's the biggest thing that I want to stress right now here. Okay, so yeah, the accuracy of the models is dependent on the situation. That's the biggest thing, Kevin. You never should trust a model 100% right out of the gate. You should just never do it. It will burn you every single time. You have to recognize the pattern. You have to go all from the data, from all the models that you're seeing, and you come up with a forecast. If you guys have noticed with this particular event, why we haven't really had the graphics out or talked about a lot, is because with this particular system, you have to slow down, think, and see what your pattern is doing before you strike. That's why we haven't had a lot out, and that's the reason why we haven't really talked about it too much. It's not because it's not showing Little Rock seeing snow. It's not that at all. It's just because we're waiting for more data to come in, get a better forecast. Sometimes you have to wait and be patient to get an accurate forecast instead of being the first one to jump on it and having to change it a million times, right? So that's what we did. That's why we haven't had a lot over the last 2 days. It's because we've been kind of sitting back, letting the data come in, seeing what it's going to do, and then once we got a better idea, that's when we had it out across the board. So, yeah, that was excellent advice. I saw that. So, yeah, I know the Euro isn't always right. You should have seen it last year with 2021. 50 degrees. We ended up being, what was it, Kevin? We were in the teens and 20s, where the Euro had us in the 50s at one point. So you should never trust any sort of model guidance at all, guys. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our graphics here. I'm going to go back over to this real fast. And I'm going to leave this up for a little bit for everyone that's asking about our snowfall totals. And then I'm going to answer a few more questions here. So, love that comment as well. Don't forget about your pets. Make sure your pets are brought inside. Everybody, biggest thing is with this cold air, it's something that Arkansas is not used to. If you're Michael Poland or Sid or anybody else that lives in the Northern Plains, you're probably used to it, and it's probably going to be warm for you. But if you're in Arkansas, this is extreme cold air. You're not going to be used to it, guys. Okay, our animals are not going to be used to it. So make sure you bring them in, guys. People, pets, plants, and pipes. Make sure your pipes are covered as well, because you're going to run the potential, especially with temperatures this low, for busting pipes as well. So make sure that they're covered up as well here. So yeah, okay. So 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow. That's a 10-to-1 ratio. Thank you, Kevin. I still for mine's all over the place at this point. So let me see here. Yeah, I just sent him in the chat. Yeah, very easy to get confused sometimes. Thank you guys for that. So let me see here. Go over the questions at this point. Okay, so do you think the totals could go up in the Pine Bluff area? We shall see. Like I mentioned before, bottle guidance right now is not really doing too good with that area flow pressure to the south and east. Okay, we have to wait and see what happens with that. Right now, I say the best bet. Let's go with Kevin a little bit. Kevin nailed this right now. So flurries, light snow in southwest Arkansas for Thursday afternoon. That would be the best case down there in southern Arkansas for now, because it's just a NAM by itself. Everybody, all the other model guidance right now is saying the bigger low in the Ohio Valley. North Arkansas is going to take the spotlight. Everybody else, not much. The NAM is the only one that's bringing those snowfall totals that far south. So you have to watch it very, very closely across the board. Okay, so let me see here. Let me go over everything right now. I think that is it for all the questions I'm seeing at this point. Is the video cutting in and out? I think that's just on your side. I'm not seeing any issues over here. So let me see here. I think that is it for everything. Sarah, yeah, shout out to all the RDOT workers at this point that's going to get ready for this. Those that are going to be out, treating the roads and stuff like that, dealing with not only the traffic here in Arkansas, but the travel coming in from out of state for Christmas. Heart goes out to them, man. They're going to be out there working. They don't get these off days like we do whenever we have temperatures this low here. They're going to be out there working, so just keep that in mind across the board. Batesville up there in northern Arkansas, I think you're in a good position to see snowfall up there as well. So let me double check and make sure that I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I know. Don't remind me. I botched that up. Let me see. So appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and stuff like that. I have to work on Thursday. Won't get on until 6. Coming from Pocahontas up there in northeast Arkansas, the Harding, what to expect, any major travel issues. The biggest thing is watch out for yourself and watch out for people around you. That's the number one thing I'm going to stress. Just watch out for the people around you. I'm not expecting massive amounts of travel issues or anything like that. Just watch out for the people around you, because a lot of people are coming in from out of state. They don't, and no offense to them at all, but a lot of people don't know how our roads are. A lot of people are going to be using GPS, not really going off of memory or anything like that. So just watch out for those people as well. If we get snow up there in northeast Arkansas, then what's going to happen is there will be some travel issues, especially with temperatures falling this low. So just keep an eye on that at this point here. There's a lot of people coming in from out of state that don't know our road networks and stuff. So just be mindful of them. Be patient wherever you got to go. I promise you're going to get there. I promise you're going to get there across the board. So let me see here. Yeah, Pam, thank you for that. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, do not let your kids stay out too long in this. Make sure they have 3 to 4 layers of clothes on. Make sure they have jackets on, the hat and everything. This is some significant cold air coming our way. So I know the kids are going to be excited. They're going to see snow. It's okay to let them out for a little bit. Do not let them stay out too long in these temperatures here, okay? So let me see here. I think that is it. Pam, thank you for that. Cal, I appreciate you, man. You're doing a lot of work out there, bud. My heart goes out to you, bud. Stay safe out there, man. He's the one that treats the roads. He works for RDOT and stuff like that, for those that don't know. But yeah, he's gonna be working hard over the next couple of days. So let me see here. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm more worried about the people around me. That's the thing at this point. Make sure, guys, that y'all are just taking it easy out there across the board. So we're gonna go back to this real fast. There's the let's go to travel impacts real quick. I'm gonna leave that up across the board. So yeah, I saw that, Chris. Above average temperatures coming next week. I'm gonna put a big question mark on that right now. I'd be rather curious to see how everything kind of trends up from this Arctic outbreak here. I think they will moderate. We'll obviously get above freezing. We'll be below freezing for a few days, and then they'll get better. But I did see above average temperatures coming back into place. So if you like warm weather, it's going to come back right at New Year's time frame here. So something we'll watch very closely here. Yeah, so I'm concerned about northern Arkansas roads, even with 1 inch of snow, just dangerous travel across the area. I know that's the biggest thing. Even the snowfall totals even if it's that low, will cause some travel issues here because temperatures are going to rapidly go from 40 degrees to 20s to single digits, and even in North Arkansas below zero. So you're going to have that rapid freeze on the roadways. Even with RDOT out there treating the roads, you're still going to have some issues. So make sure that you're taking those precautions, guys. Okay, make sure you're staying safe out there for those that are traveling at this point. Okay, so let me see. Travel in the morning. Are you going first thing tomorrow morning to Texas? You should be good. If you're going first thing tomorrow morning, you should be good. If you're leaving Thursday morning, I say you'll be fine. Just make sure it's first thing Thursday morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. If you're going to Texas, get it done first thing Thursday morning. That way, you're not running any issues. Because the later you go on a Thursday, the worse the travel is going to get across the area. Yeah, love your comment, Jason, as well. Make sure you have a full tank of gas if traveling in the event of road closures or an accident, so that hopefully you have heat if needed here. So make sure you have that as well. So I-40 on Thursday afternoon. Oh, I'm going to tell you this now, especially if the highway stand were to verify, you get that good snow band right there on I-40. You guys know how it is. Half an inch to an inch of snowfall will shut down 40 in a heartbeat. So definitely some slick road conditions. Like I mentioned before, RDOT's going to be out there. They're going to be doing a lot of hard work trying to make sure those roads are good to go. But even with their hard work, there's still going to be some slick roadways across the board. So just take it easy on I-40. If we see that snowfall occur, then we'll have to watch it closely. As a matter of fact, Kevin, I'm going to get in contact with you probably after the stream. We're going to kind of coordinate everything. He works with the Arklatex Weather Center down there in southwestern Arkansas. They run that down there. So I'm going to kind of coordinate with him later on with this particular map. With that 1 inch of snowfall, if whoever sees 1 inch of snowfall, I may actually increase that to a medium just because of your temperatures being so low. So we'll see. We'll kind of address that if needed here. But great comment, Ryan. Yeah, you guys know with I-40, that little bit of snow, it'll shut it down immediately. So just keep that in mind here. Yeah, Thursday night, a low of 8 down there in Pine Bluff. Like I mentioned before, I really hope those temperatures are overdone down there in southern Arkansas. Because if that's the case, North Arkansas is going to be well below zero at this point here. And I'm afraid of something too, is if you have a snowpack in North Arkansas or in southern Missouri and you get clear skies Thursday night, because that can happen, by the way, with your wind gusts being so strong, it'll get that cloud cover out here real quick. I'm worried about temperatures being a lot lower. Now here's the thing, when you have 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts, that does help keep your temperatures a little bit elevated versus calm wind. If you had a calm wind, a snowpack, temperatures could easily get below zero for majority of the state. But with those wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour, it will help your surface temperatures, but your wind chills will be the problem when you have those negative 10, negative 20, negative 30 wind chills across the board. So will ground temperatures be a factor? No. Ground temperatures across the board on the 30s and 40s across the state, not going to be a factor with this one, guys. So anybody that sees snow stands a pretty decent shot of accumulating snow across the area. Great question, Chad, up there in northeastern Arkansas. Now here's the thing about a blizzard conditions. You have to get sustained winds upwards. I believe, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong with this. It's sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, or is it wind gust for a 3-hour period? I know it's either one. I think you have to have accumulating snow with that as well. So it's going to be rather questionable. It also depends on how strong your low pressure gets, the timing of the low, the track of the low, and stuff like that. So right now, I'd say to say probably not, but at this point, we'll just have to keep an eye on that across the area here. But I think it's sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or higher, or wind gusts of 35 miles per hour or greater here. Okay, so what is the time frame? Like I mentioned before, I don't have a timing map right now. I was kind of rushing getting this live stream going, and timing right now is still a bit uncertain, but I would say right around, let's see if I can draw this out. Let's see if I can do this across the board. So it's going to be, let me see here, it's going to be this one, or is it going to be this one? Okay, so let me know if you guys can see this this drawing over here. Let me see if I can get this going. I'm gonna make a kind of a brief timing map and kind of give you guys a perspective of what we're looking at here. Okay, so right through here, I say 7 a.m. over here. Let's put A for that, and I say 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. over here in western Arkansas, and then right through here, I say 11 a.m. by the way to 1, and then over here in eastern Arkansas, I say 1 to 7 over here, and that will depend on what happens, because what's going to happen is the snow is going to slow down a little bit getting out, because your low is going to be deepening. It's going to be deepening as it moves northeast. So 1 to 7 over here in eastern Arkansas, 11 to 1 over here, and then 7 a.m. to 11 over here in western Arkansas. And I'm keeping this in mind. This will probably shift a lot over the next couple of days, but I'm going to kind of leave that up so you guys kind of get like a perspective on what the timing map's going to look like when it finally comes out here. Okay, so will I-39 430 be bad on Thursday afternoon? It just depends on how much snow we get. If we don't see any snowfall here, you're good to go. But if you start seeing that half an inch to an inch or even higher from there, and that's where you start having issues across the board. So just keep an eye on that. We'll let you guys know with the trends of that secondary low here. Okay, so Cody, great comment. Why does that second low disappear and then reappear in the southeast? That's mainly because of model data is doing kind of back and forth with it right now. So why does that happen? Well, the surface low weakens and then it redevelops because of your trough axis coming through. So it redevelops over there in southeast, in the southeast, and then it moves north. Another thing that we're going to have to watch, and Kevin, I'm going to get with you later on about this as well, is what we call divergence. It's your polar jet and your subtropical jet moving through. And I talk about this a lot in severe weather setups, but it creates what we call a void in the atmosphere, okay? And that promotes surface low development. That divergence across the board in the southeast will promote surface low development, which is what the NAM is doing. The other models are not doing that. It'd be very interesting to see who wins this battle out. The GFS started this, so you got to get a GFS credit, but let's see who ends the battle. I think the NAM may be onto something here that the other model down is not saying at this point. Yeah, a low down there of 2 down there in Pike County on Thursday night. Boy, that is a significant amount of cold air coming in across the area. So let me see here. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that was the thing. Thank you guys for that. I was trying to correct myself. I was like, okay, it's 35 miles per hour or greater for the gust. 1 inch of snow lasting for more than 3 hours or more. So if that is the case, to Chad, to answer your question, if that is the case up here in northeastern Arkansas, then I can see you getting away with it. But let's see what happens. You have to get it to sustain itself for more than 3 hours or more before you see it. You can't have any breaks within that 3 hour time frame here. And you also have to have, I believe, 1 inch of snow with that as well. So let me see here. And we'll go over everything at this point. I think that is it in terms of everything here. Yeah, so sustained winds, frequent gusts at or above 35 miles per hour for at least 3 hours. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, Chris, I saw the GFS on January 3rd. Credit where credit's due. The GFS has done relatively good with nailing this early on. GFS got laughed at and stuff like that, saying it's not going to happen. And now we're talking about winter weather. So the GFS, credit where credit's due. The event hasn't even started yet. But where credit where credit's due, the GFS did do a pretty good job at indicating this over the last week or so here. Okay, so yeah, so the low tracks further to the south, we get more snow. Yes, that will be something that you have to watch, especially with that southern and that southeast low that Molly is just not picking up on right now across the area. So what will Rose be? Will Rose be safe by Thursday night at 5? I'm going to be honest with you, Catherine. It's a wait and see. If Little Rock gets away with this with no snow, you're going to be good to go. Just watch out for the cold temperatures. But if you see snowfall here, that's going to be the worst time possible to travel. And I know a lot of people are going to be going out, traveling, stuff like that, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, Thursday night, Friday. I understand it's Christmas. I understand a lot of people are trying to get out and about, but make sure that you are safe in doing it, okay? Your safety comes first before anything else. Make sure that you're good to go. We're going to have road closure reports if we need it, RDOT reports, all the other good stuff. We're going to have all that information on you with you guys over the next 2 days when the events are going on Thursday and all that good stuff. So just make sure that you're staying with us, okay? But don't plan on it for Friday, okay? Don't plan on traveling Thursday night, especially in north and central Arkansas, because we're expecting at least a half an inch to an inch of snow across the board. Just don't plan on it at this point. But if we get away, we're not seeing any snowfall here in Little Rock, you're going to be good to go. But just make sure you're bundled up for the cold air that's going to be coming in here, okay? So I think that is it. Let me see here. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Cal. Yeah, that was the thing. A lot of people just kind of laughed at it and stuff like that with the GFS. The GFS, you got to give it credit. As much as it gets laughed at and bashed and all the other stuff in the community, it actually does a pretty good job. It actually has a pretty decent track record, especially with this past couple of months, you know, with the summer temperatures, with the tropics, with this ongoing winter weather event, with the severe threats. It's actually been doing relatively good. The Euro is right now losing that king status. Like, they call it King Euro in the community, but I don't think it's doing so well right now here. It's been off the marbles with the last couple of events here. So let me see here. Love that comment. Get your shopping done tomorrow, folks. Get it done tomorrow. I'm gonna let my boss know tomorrow if it starts getting too bad. I may leave early. Great comment. If you can leave early on Thursday, that's awesome. Timing right now, I have this particular timing. I know it's gonna be a little hard to see, but 7 a.m. to 11 over here. 11 to, I have 1, probably 2 to 3 over here, and then 1 to 7 in eastern Arkansas. So we'll see what happens. We'll have an official timing map for you guys. Probably first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning would be pretty good, because a lot of people will be waking up to it first thing in the morning here. Okay, so yeah, southwest flow with cold air mass in place is the best shot. That's how we got the February 2021 event. This is not going to be anything like that. We're not expecting a foot of snow here in Arkansas with this one here. Okay, so let me see here. Yeah, the GFS. Yeah, Andy, it did well. It did really well with that event last year. Like I said before, it got laughed at. You know, it was 384. It had the foot of snow here in Arkansas. Got laughed at. Euro obviously didn't have it. Euro was trying to put us in the 50s, which was obviously didn't happen. A lot of people probably wished it was in the 50s, but it didn't happen. So the GFS actually did pretty good. So like I said before, you can't really bash it because it actually has a pretty decent track record across the board. So thank you for that comment, by the way. I think that is it for the board. Yeah, it's been great in terms of lone track prediction across the area. So, I agree with that comment as well. The construction areas, man. You're just going to have to watch that very closely at this point. So, let me see here. I think that is it, guys. At this point, I can't remember the last one. It's been so long since we've been in one. Yeah, I know. That 2021 event was the last time we really had that type of cold air. It won't be the snowfall that will get everybody. It's the cold air. It's the massive amount of cold air coming in as we get towards late Thursday into Friday. So I think that's it, guys. That's all I've got. I've been on the live stream for about an hour and a half. I've gone over all the information I need to. Like I mentioned before, stay with us, guys. If I didn't get to your question, I apologize. I'm gonna have to get to you in the inbox or in the comments. We're gonna have a live stream tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get it a little earlier tomorrow. We shall see what happens. But tomorrow, stay tuned for the live streams. We're gonna have information on the page as well. So make sure that you're paying attention to the page, because Facebook's not gonna send a lot of notifications out with stuff that we post. So make sure you manually check in, kind of keep an eye on everything at this point, guys. Be safe, be careful, be mindful of those that are not from Arkansas that are coming in from out of state. I hope you guys are being careful out there. Like I said, for Thursday, we're going to keep you guys updated on it. I think that is it for all the comments at this time here. I got everything? Okay, so we've got everything at this point, guys. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll continue to keep you guys updated right here in your source for all things Arkansas weather.